Hi guys, and this is Daria from meshbodyaddicts.com, and today I'm having a look at GA.EG's first female bento mesh head, Barbara. So let's take a bit of a quick look at Barbara, how she works, what her features are, etc, etc. First let me move my HUD so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so this is Barbara that I have on at the moment, and I have one of the built-in skin tones on her right now, as well as the GA.EG Eyes, Ultimate Eyes Pack, which if you've never seen, I highly recommend checking out. They're just stunning. And here we have what comes with the head itself. So you can see from here in my inventory, I have the facial AO on, which is this. I have the rigged mesh ears on. I have the head itself on. I have teeth on, so she's got teeth in there. I don't have this brow shaper on because I've actually used a different shape that came with it and adjusted it slightly. So it doesn't really matter if I put that on or not. I've got the neck blend on for Maitreya, which just hides that seam a little bit, and I've got a variation of the Barbara shape on, as I mentioned, and I've got the Smart HUD on, and the Smart HUD is this HUD here. Now, if you've never used a mesh head before, make sure you put the alpha on as well. I don't, because I have a full body alpha on all the time anyway, because I'm always meshy. That's just how I roll. So let's have a look at Barbara. Now, first things first, if you've never used a GA.EG system, it's a little bit different to the others, but I mean, let's face it, they pretty much all have the same features. They just look different. So first of all, if we have a look at alphas, so the Barbara mesh head does have a number of layers on it. So it has 8 overlapping cosmetic layers. And I don't want to confuse you too much by going into all of that, but essentially it's to help you get makeup off. So if you've ever put a makeup demo on, or if you've ever put, an eyeshadow on or a lipstick on or a tattoo on and not been able to get it off, this is the tab you would come to start clearing it off. So there you go. I've just taken off my eyebrows. I'll just start taking everything off. I really, really love that they've put this in here, because it's really easy to understand, I think, once you've just read through it all, and you can of course clear all, but I think it makes it much easier to be able to clear layers visually. So if we have a look at lashes, which I've now taken off because, again, that's how I roll, we have 3D lashes, and then we have alpha lashes. What's the difference? Well, it's basically mask and blend mode. Alpha lashes meaning it's using alpha, and 3D lashes, it's just a bit chunkier, really. And it has so if we hide here, you can see what I mean in far better sense. So the lashes here, it's actually using if you can briefly see, a little face here, to paint lashes onto that face, rather than having them completely three-dimensional mesh objects of their own. Essentially, we're talking about a way to use blend lashes, and a way to use mask lashes in a mesh on its own sense. Doesn't make sense? I probably did a crap job explaining it, but basically, really the difference, you'll be able to see it quite visually, so I don't think we need to worry too much about that. We have smoky liner as well, which is good. You know me, I can't get enough of my smoky liner. I'm all about it. I still look numpty because I took my eyebrows off, but that's just how I roll. So skin tones, you've got a number of skin tones here. You can buy appliers for Maitreya and Omega at their store to match these skin tones, which is awesome. We also have teeth whiteness and things in there, but I think that's pretty obvious. Eyeshadows, lipsticks, of course, the usual things that you would expect to come with a mesh head, which is great. I am a fan of their makeup. I quite like the makeup options they offer with their mesh heads. I think their texturing is really quite gorgeous, and their blush contouring as well. We have brow colours, so we can now put some eyebrows back onto me so I don't look quite like such a numpty. Let's go a little bit darker. I like some dark brows. Yeah, that'll do. And we also have brow styles, which is good. Again, it's just more options for you to play with, and you never know when you're going to want to try something new, so more options is good. And hair bases. Now, the add-ons section. This section only becomes active once you start adding on additional packs. So the way that that GA.EG structure their sets is you get a certain number of options that come with the head by default, and you can purchase little add-on packs to add on extra makeup, add on extra animations, all that sort of stuff. And when you go to install it, so if I give you an example, because I have the blogger pack here with me, so if I were to go, here we go, Glamour Lashes, it's going to unpack, take that off my arm. So say we've bought this because we wanted to add some extra lash options on. If I shrink that, I can hit this add-on installer, and it'll transfer it, and it will tell me once it's done, and it's now automatically saved in this HUD for me to use. So I'll be able to just quite simply go here and start clicking on these options when I want to start using these lashes. Now the color is automatically coming up as white, so let's just make these black, and there we go. I have a whole bunch of other options that I can start using with my mesh head in terms of lashes. And you'll be able to scroll through these, and the more you add, the more you'll understand how it works, but that's just a really quick introduction to that installation system. Now, if we move on to the next one, which is the facial AO, so we have chat triggers, so smiling, etc., talk on chat, so having the lips animate when you start typing in World, emote triggers, again reacting to things that you're typing, etc., and animated emotes. So we have animations really. And I had that one active already, so you can see every once in a while you would have noticed that she's smiling. That's because that's active. And as you buy more add-ons and add more emotions, you can have her cycling through these randomly, which is really awesome. Default blink, she's also got that active, and default eyes are active as well. So to give you a bit of an idea, you can deactivate by making this go dark and leaving the one that you want highlighted. So you can see she's got a bit of a scowly / suspicious look going on. And I can change that and just highlight this one to make her eyes open. Or I can just leave them both on and let her cycle through them. Same with lips. So I can have her lips be, the default. And I can have her then, rotate between that little smirky smile. Static emotes as well. So these you can only select one of at a time because it's, controlling the whole face there, which is something, especially with photography, etc., you use. So this is just to activate that full expression so that I can take a photo rather than having it animating. And that's really the crux of this system. You do have a settings button here where you can, stop animations and all that sort of stuff as well. But really, as you start adding on animations that you want to save into the HUD, that will build up here, and you'll get a sense really of how to use it. It's important as well to know that you can change the time between each change. So if I have her cycling through a bunch of different smiles, I can choose how long she does each smile before she moves on to the next. So that's Barbara in a nutshell in terms of how the system works. So in terms of Bento, how does it work? Well, if I go into my normal shape editing and I stop her smirking and doing, anything too fancy, because I'll just put a static one on, because I need her to Open your eyes, lady. I need to look at your oh, I put sleep on, my bad. Oh, there isn't a static one for just normal face. Oh, take them both off. There we go. Duh. So, if we go about changing the face, what is the main difference with GA.EG? Well, one thing that I noticed is that the weights are quite sharply blended. Now, what I mean by that is if you, for example, went to, let's say, head, and I went to change her head shape to a more round shape, you can see here the lips actually cut away in quite a jagged sense here. And that's because the weights aren't gradual there, they're quite sharp. So although the head is changing shape, it's telling the lips not to respond to that at all. So you can start getting some weird shapes that way. I suppose GA.EG, one thing I've noticed about them is that they have a tendency to have a more traditional view on beauty. They have stronger features, which I know a lot of people love, and which I think is quite different for this market. So I think it's a good thing that they have stronger features. You notice the nose, the mouth, the eyes, they're all quite sharp, and they're all very well defined. And it's almost reminiscent of the traditional view of SL beauty, with the system head, not looking like a system head, but rather adopting that strength of appearance within the face from the system head. So people who love their system heads tend to respond better to GA.EG because it's not quite as fantastical or unrealistically soft as some of the other mesh heads are. That said, you obviously can, of course, change fullness and all of those sorts of things. The lips respond quite well. I think the lips are quite natural, which is a very good thing as well. They can respond a little bit too well, as you can see there, but anytime you get a slider up near 100, weird things are going to happen. So try and keep your changes minimal, because the more you change each slider, even though you're just taking it maybe 1 or 2 steps, the change as you change other sliders will become really prominent. So make small changes to start with, just small steps. And of course, if you have a skin that you love, this head is Omega compatible out of the box. So put that skin on. If you have an Omega skin that you love, put it on this head and then start tweaking your shape around that skin, because each skin is different and has different highlighted features. So you may need to change the way that your mesh head is shaped to fit the skin rather than the other way around. Strange, I know. But there is quite a bit of versatility in this head. Having said that, it's just around that mouth area it can be a little bit tricky. So that's it for this little review of the GA.EG Barbara mesh head. Check it out. In main store, you'll find there's a demo and all sorts of information about it there. For those of you who like the finer details, the ears, for example, there are bento and unrigged ears, which I know is quite a popular option amongst people who like to use elf ears and different things like that. It has an ears shaper as well, so there are different ear tips you can give it to give it an elven look and those sorts of things. It comes with a lot of stuff in terms of being able to make the head look the way that you want the head to look. So definitely check it out, have a play with it, and once you have, then put your comments in the box below. Let me know what you think. Thanks everybody. Bye.